Yeah, Secret House against Tokyo-based hip-hop art and culture conversations. We're back again on a lazy Saturday evening full of rain in Tokyo, but yeah, we didn't do an update video this week. We just want to get straight into the reviews. So today we're going to be discussing the newest album from Obijuan. It's called Flood Season. 24 songs, 48 minutes. It dropped a while back on September 20th, and Obijuan, friend of the show, was kind enough to shoot us a copy of it. You cannot find it on streaming services at this point, so feel free to go to his Bandcamp page and purchase the album. It is worth every
$33.33.
That's right. Obijuan, for those of you who don't know, is a kind of Bahamian. Is that the right? Bahamian MC poet artist, who's been putting out music for quite a long time, and he's collaborated with the likes of Young Morpheus, Feek, No Face, Raheem Supreme, who's also on this album, Elijah Banksy, Lord Apex, the Beatmaker 1-2, Sleep Sinatra, Doof. There's just a long line of cats who've been rocking with him for a very long time. Where did I put my glasses? Okay. I can't see without my glasses.
Can't see without his glasses.
Yeah, I mean I can, but it's like more difficult. But yeah, this is the second time that we've discussed, maybe the third, since we did Album of the Year discussion about his works, which both a project from his trilogy of albums.
The trilogy, Guanahani, Kaonabo, Apocalypso, and I believe you put
Kaonabo
was on
my top 10 of the year last year,
and I put Apocalypso on mine.
Okay.
At like 2 or 3. I put it very, very high up on the list. It was an album I really, really loved.
I really enjoyed it as well. Guys, go back and check out the review that we did for that album. It's really a lot more dense than I think is a surface level listen will really suggest. But yeah, we're back again. This album, Flood Season, it's got hella songs. It's got hella producers. Dylan the Infamous, who did Kaonabo, the whole trilogy, No Face, Bayle P, Mike Schaab, Nicholas Craven, Poison.
Young.
What's that?
Poison Yang.
Oh, okay. Is that what that kanji is? Or that character is?
Yeah.
That's a Chinese character?
It's my girlfriend's surname.
Okay. August Fanon's on here, Camouflage Monk, fucking Argov, Iwani, Grim Doza, Giallo Point. Yeah, so it's a lot of producers. It's filled to the brim with a lot of producers, and somehow it's still incredibly cohesive. So Jed and I are absolutely fans, and for you, Desert, this is your first time really checking out Obijuan, yeah?
Yeah, this is my first time, and I'm still working through it. I guess I'll say that. You know,
for sure.
I think I need more time with it, but yeah. Yeah, I'm still working through it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we want to get straight into it, I do think this is like an interesting, as fans of some of the previous works and as people who have spoken with some length about the Guanahani trilogy, this kind of takes a bit of a different direction to some of those previous works. It's a little bit different to some of the stuff he's done before. I mean, notably, where those previous records put like a very strong emphasis on the indigenous culture and religious practices, particularly the Caribbean and of the Bahamas. Obviously, the key metaphor of this album and kind of the core concept is like an Abrahamic religious thing, right? It's
like
the
biblical flood, right?
Season, the biblical flood, and
renewing,
the renewal. Yeah. And you have tracks like Good Book on there, of course, that also, and various other kind of allusions to Christianity in particular that you see on this record, which I thought was interesting. Also sonically, I mean, just a bit of a change of flavor as well. I mean, maybe it's because of the variety of producers on here. But while it still distinctly sounds Obijuan, it's definitely got a bit of a
to me, I think one of the things that I found interesting when I was listening to that trilogy is that Obijuan is an artist who injects a lot of his kind of cultural touchstones, and a lot of that comes from like an anti-colonialist, anti-imperialist background. And while that's also incorporated into the music by using kind of like a sound clash, kind of like sample triggering and things that evoke that, this work doesn't have the same kind of forward anti-colonial critiques or historical critiques. Like Kaonabo is literally talking about a Taino chieftain, and chieftain. And so there's a lot of those things in there. Whereas Flood Season is more like, yo, here's some fucking raps to get the bozos out the game. Like really, there's a lot of bullshit out there. And so this album does, I feel, take a more kind of conventional approach in terms of the subject matter, and perhaps is like, for me, the like, I really like how he raps and the production choices and all those things, but the kind of depth and I don't know, range that was happening on Calnabo or Apocalypso or Guahani, is that
Guanahani, yep.
Guanahani, it's not really as present here. Obviously, there are a lot of lines that are still having that approach and still bringing up those things, but I feel as though that it was a little bit more like for lack of a better term, like an intention in those albums to highlight certain things about that culture, whereas this one is kind of just like, yeah, man, I'm fucking Obijuan, I'm super dope, I've got a lot of things to say about a lot of things, and here goes some of it over this really odd kind of variety and amalgam of producers that somehow still, you know, there's fucking 24 songs.
How many producers are on this?
1, 2, 3, 4,
12?
5, 6, 7,
12
8,
producers.
9, 10,
Yeah.
11, 12, yeah.
Yeah, 12 producers. And you know, we've also got some, you know, it's 24 tracks, but you've got people on this album who are rhyming with him: Al Divino, Mike Shab, Bob Hayes. Shout out to Bob Hayes. I'm recently into Bob Hayes' music. Raheem Supreme, who's also super dope. Papo 2004. Who was Papo just on an album we just did?
Papo was on literally the last thing we reviewed, right?
What was the last thing we reviewed? Des?
Was he on Death
Wasn't
Tape?
it?
It wasn't Death Tape, was it?
Was the last thing we reviewed, but
we also did. Okay, but anyways, the point being is, like, it's full of a lot of dope shit. It's more conventionally a rap album, I would say.
Yes.
Like, you know, not to say that it lacks any depth, but there is like a more kind of focused approach about just like making really dope rap musics, I think. So okay, but yeah, overall, man, I am a big fan of Obijuan and the approach that he takes to his music. I also am really interested in his rhyme style, how metered it is. It seems a little bit like less experimental than some of the other people that we listen to, with how kind of towards it is like actually rhyming words, but he bars out heavy, and he has these long runs of like these assonant runs, to the point that you could pick up separate lines in his verse and just put them together, and it still works extremely dope. I'm a fan of his kind of like almost kind of like lackadaisical kind of rhyme flow, but he also has, like, while it sounds like a little bit like monotone and lackadaisical, he really puts a lot of twist on delivery in ways that are kind of subtle but fucking just work a lot. Whether he speeds up the meter of his rhymes a little bit, or he adds like this interesting sing-song style approach that you wouldn't think would work well by a person with his kind of like vocal tones, but they're catchy. They get stuck in your head.
Well,
Jet for months was singing fucking
why these niggas so fake.
yeah, it is like, yeah, and I really do just, there's so much on this album to kind of take in and enjoy. Like I have a hard time whittling it down to like my three favorite tracks, because there's tracks on here that are clearly trying to do different things, and they work for me in different ways. There's like a trappy type of beat on here, which is more trappy than what I've really ever heard Obijuan on before, and that shit is fire.
I mean, I've never been to the Bahamas, and I don't know much about the Bahamas, but I do see a lot of kinship between what is being done here and a lot of the Jamaican stuff I grew up around. Even the flow reminds me of, like, you know, proto rap, like toasting, you know, MCing in the sort of dance hall context. And then obviously having all of these like ad libs and samples and kind of, you know, the noisy kind of element. The only thing he doesn't do on this album is pull up a track like 40 seconds in and then, you know, run it back 2-3 times, spin it back. But like,
right.
There's like,
that'd be kind of hard though.
I mean, like, that's a part of the tradition. Sometimes you gotta do that.
Pull up.
Yeah.
Why these niggas up? And like, yeah, you know, I really got that impression. Like, I you know, I almost want to hear this on like a dub plate or something, you know, just big heavy piece of plastic that's been, who knows where it's originated.
I like it. I like it on headphones, but to me, the album sounds better on speakers. It sounds better loud to me. It sounds better when it's like, it's more than just what's happening in your head. It's like kind of like affecting this environment. I turn the bass up and I turn it on and I'm just like, there's all these producers are really incredible. Like Argov is like one of my favorites who I don't really know all that much about, but every time that I see an Argov beat, it's crazy. Dylan the Infamous, crazy. Obviously August Fanon. It was the August Fanon shit that Papo 2004 was on, the Black Chai?
Yes.
Or maybe. But, yo, August Fanon, absolutely crazy. Camouflage Monk is good to see some return from them. Nicholas Craven. These are all cats that kind of work with that, I don't know, like street kind of, you know, like there's the Griselda kind of backbones there. And also, you know, Makami, which I think Obijuan gets a lot of comparisons to, but I find them distinctly different.
They are very distinct, while also, of course,
kind of kindred type of.
Kindred, yeah.
People say they're kind of similar?
I think a lot of people, you know, because a lot of people look at it from like a central perspective where like hip hop is this American art form performed by Americans. Whereas obviously the interesting thing about both Mark Homie and Obijuan is that there is this peripheral element to it where it's like these are both MCs who are drawing heavily from their Caribbean roots, both sonically and thematically. You have, you know, something that is distinctly Caribbean in its kind of construction. It doesn't, you know, obviously it still has like, this album has like a bit of like a West Coast styly kind of thing going on to it. It's also got a bit of like an East Coast grittiness, like a dirtiness to it that you might expect. I think, you know, Dylan the Infamous's production on the previous trilogy has a bit of that kind of London, like early aughts or like mid aughts, you know, The Bug or Code 9 type like darkness to it. And it pulls from a variety of places, but I think, you know, both of these artists obviously have this Caribbean thing going on. They both have like a focus on like indigenous culture and also like indigenous religious practices. In the case of Mark Homie, that's voodoo, and in the case of Obijuan, that's like Obia.
And they're both deeply kind of like committed to discussing like anti-colonialist, you know, like the last mock has like the IMF track, and there's a lot of things and for, you know, for my dollar I can see the comparisons where the Venn diagram, you know, connects, but I also think they're doing kind of, I wouldn't say radically different, but to me the only purpose for the comparison is to highlight how we have two cats from this similar region who have a similar approach in that. Like I think that you know, Obijuan's rhyme style is pretty fucking interesting. It took me a while to kind of like really get with it, and I was just like, all right, a lot of these word combos are really great, but on this album is the one where I was like, damn bro, like he bars out in so many different styles here. I put down like I have terrible hearing, and a lot of times I don't like to necessarily discuss the lyrics that I hear because I get them wrong quite a bit. But you know, there's some shit on here that's so crazy, and it'll be over like this really kind of cacophonous type of beat, but Obi-Wan's voice cuts through it so well, and he just says some super super dope shit like fake nigga fucking up the feng shui, you know, like yo bro, like a lot of this, my slang bring a punani tsunami. Like I'll just be like, yo, you're fucking, it's you know, it's a lot of it is just like really really dope to me, you know. I don't know. What do you think about the album? Has it caught on for you, Des? Do you care for the stylings? Like,
yeah, I mean, like I said before, it's like kind of growing on me, but I think it's the rhyme pattern and stuff. You know, it's kind of, it's very enough that like, you know, I can appreciate it, but like it is the metered, like, you know, rhyme pattern and stuff. And I think also the monotone, the whole lackadaisical flow. Sometimes I find myself kind of being like, oh shit, yeah, I gotta tune back in almost, you know? Because
yeah, I mean, it's got a bit of a almost like a dubwise element to it, right? Where it's kind of like you can get caught up in like the assonance flow and the loop. And then, you know, all the textures that have been layered on top, which I think give the album a sense of cohesion because you have 12 different producers on here. But when you've got all of these tracks incorporating all of these sort of dance hall-y elements to it, and, you know, these little samples, it feels a bit more cohesive. But at the same time, I do think that if you're a fan of, or you're used to like soulful, jazzy, boom bap type beats, which are generally very sonically pleasing to the ear, the more like abrasive and murky elements of the beats can be like a hurdle that's quite difficult to get over.
I think that it's also like his voice can become a little bit hypnotic and kind of just join into the instrumentation a bit. And like, one of the reasons I said I like how his voice cuts through the beats, because if you allow yourself to kind of not pay attention to what's being said, his voice almost becomes like, I want to say like percussive in a way, but the way that it's just kind of so relaxed, it's almost even like a bass line to a degree. But you know, like there's songs on this where he ramps up the intensity a couple notches and meets the beats where they're at, and it's not necessarily all just like him spoken styling on you and shit. Like sometimes he's coming at the mic, and for me, the like. What I was really enjoying is that every single track on this album is going to have some lines that I just kind of like fuck with. Yeah. I'm just like, you know, and for the title of it being Flood Season, I agree with a lot of this shit. Like, the future don't include you goofballs. It's pure beauty. And I don't do it any justice by the way I say it, but there's just something really dope away how he does that. And he incorporates all these like different cultural elements. Like you might catch like an old Wu-Tang refrain in there that's not even one that's like really known to a lot of cats that aren't familiar with like Glaciers of Ice, you know, like Son of Man something G's Guns and Grands. He'll say some shit like that, and it's like, oh, that's fucking only built for Cuban links. And for me, it's just, you know, like a lot of this shit is just like a very well considered and interesting, more than it could. I can definitely see a lot of people listening to this and just being like, yeah, this is not for me, without even kind of like trying to figure out what's trying to be accomplished here, or the approach. And of course, like I don't think that this hits for everybody. I know a lot of fools that I talk to online who are like, you know, in like great taste in hip hop and shit, and they're just like, yeah, I don't really care for Obijuan. I don't care for his rhyme style. And it's like, all right, that's cool, because everything ain't for everybody. You know what I mean? Like everything ain't for everybody.
When you're a very unique figure as well, you know, you're someone who's like kind of just making raps that no one is really doing. You know, most superficially you have the Mark Homie comparison, and then that's kind of it. I don't know, maybe out in Nassau there's a bunch of guys who are dope like this, and I just got to get more clued in. But like, you know, it's almost like it's so subversive in that respect that I can absolutely see why it's like, you know, for some people it just doesn't hit like that, and I think that's totally cool.
Yeah, like, you know, this beat is so it's August Fanon, and it's just like, it's like a sing, you know what I mean? Like he's just doing something different. And one of the things that I think is really great about this album is that there's 24 songs, but they are like short, but there's like a clear artistic arc through them. It's not just like, here's a beat and here's a verse. Like there's a few that are just like 20 or 30 second, kind of like to break it up. But the what is the term I'm looking for? The putting it together, what the order,
structuring,
like the sequencing of the album, the track sequencing of the album is like something that really works well for me. It'll go from like No Wave, and then like Sugarcane Next would be kind of like a stronger beat that has more of the kind of that Caribbean type of element. Like you hear, you know, strong beat. I'm somewhere where I can feel a gust. I think it's more money to discuss. Yeah. I got the goop, I got sludge. Yeah. And Al Divino is dope too. Slang souffle. I'm the gulliest, I feel it in my gut. It is what it is, the bloodiest man.
I'm sure this is my favorite beat.
Yeah.
This one right here.
Bro, like just the way he comes off. Like, hold on.
The gulliest, I feel it in my gut. It is what it is. The bloodiest man, my feet in the mud. Trouble understanding me for what? Throw you overboard.
He says millions on a mine, root of medulla. If it goes through, we can buy a lagoon with the moolah. Bro, he be going off to me. Like, I was like, yo, that's the fucking hardest thing I've ever heard anybody say. Gully Wash, also incredible. He does it kind of like this 3-syllable type of run. It's not like a triplet flow, but it's like this kind of syllable stack. Like, hold on, it's like 1 minute in.
On the phone call.
Hold on. It's just like, I just fuck with. And the beat is like, Argov is so ill.
My lord, get the inventory sent across.
Here we go.
Flood season, duck eater, pump Peter, boss either, trust in me, so bleeding, buck 50, son of man, slumland, summer sand, nigga, no, we don't do it for Instagram. No.
Yeah, yo, like mom used to tell little siblings it was fireworks. It ain't lyrics, goofy, it's a way to vent. Yeah, like I just, I keep on, and one of the things about Secret House too is that, like, and I appreciate all the people that we have come on and rock with us, especially Des more recently. Our initial partner, the third piece of Secret House was Spade, and Spade didn't have any problems or any issues with being like, this is the wackest shit I've ever heard, this is mixed bad, this is stupid, they ain't saying shit. And that's like a really interesting kind of way to discuss art, right?
Yeah.
But with us, like, if you all clock in, y'all know we don't ever really get on here and be like, yeah, I don't like this because it's whack, I don't like this because it's fucked up. We always try to kind of find where it's at. So, although Obijuan is a friend of the show, we're not going out of our way to do him any more justice than we would do for fucking name anybody else we review. You know what I mean? Like, whether you support us or not, or as an artist, like, I just see something here that's really dope, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is on my albums of the year, because I just keep on finding like different flows and different type of beats off this that are just working very well for me.
Finds different pockets on these in like really interesting and unique ways.
And Dylan the Infamous, bro, like, he is incredibly talented. Like, peep this fucking, like, the guitars and horns on this shit, right?
I gave the jet some money for his mommy. I'm a great civilian. Obeying man can turn one face to $1 million. Time longer than rope. Wait till daybreak. It's brilliant. Something for supper, it ain't much money. You dumb fucker stuck breathing reasons. Flood season on through my running, morning, dance morning. Boy, we just still scornful as fuck. They call me the whatever, they shit boring. All I need is the moolah with his glory. I'm witnessing that.
Bro, that fucking production is just like fucking lovely.
So
and
layered, so rich.
Yeah, man. And then it's still got those fucking sound clash kind of like sample, selector type of fucking. Yeah, it gives like, the album has so many of these. Clay and Corn, obviously a reference to like indigenous, Central and South American and Caribbean type of cultures and shit, He says some shit that's just like, it sounds like if I said it, it would be like mad whack, but the way he said it's cool. Like, wait a minute, I ain't a fan of the way they did it. Been doing this shit since it was invented. And I'm just like, yeah, that's hard the way you say it.
Yeah,
but
dude.
for me, y'all just be like, oh, what a cornball. Yeah.
My little nigga bought a bowl of baking soda.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna just keep going through a little bit because, and this is just like a Dylan the Infamous again. Yo, peep this No Face beat though. I love Bob. Like, I had the opportunity to meet Bob Pace for a couple minutes while he was out here with Public Housing NYC. We went to the show. We got to kick it with another couple of the cast too. Black Rembrandt, we actually had a better build. Like, Bob Pace was doing his thing and was outside with Black Rembrandt, and I'm a big fan of those fools. Like, and Bob Pace sent us the Big Brother's House album, and that shit has been on repeat for me heavy. I just like his voice, the type of production he chooses, this kind of cacophonous, kind of crazy, like almost like noisy type of approach, man. Yeah. And also the sample on this feels like some 80s dance shit.
Yeah, there's a few samples on this record where I'm almost like, like in a parallel universe, I would have seen like Doom flipping this in like a different way. It's almost got like a glitzy, like game showy kind of vibe to it, like almost like a like a city pop, like vaporwave type thing. And
like, yeah, for sure. Like the next joint, Empty Vessels, like it's more like a trappy type of sound to it.
Yeah.
And to me, it still works. And Papo 2004, hard. It's like some New York shit. Like, you know what I mean? I know that, like, I got a lot of homies who, I was outside with when, like, listen to Beanie Siegel and shit. It was out, it was outside back in the, like, the Blueprint days and shit. And like this is the type of shit that will resonate for them for sure. Like, they're not necessarily into like the weird underground type of shit, but this type of work definitely will resonate with them. It's lyrics, there's like an air of authenticity, a gutter element to it. You know what I mean? A motherfucker that's been punched in the face before. You know what I mean? Like somebody that knows how to handle themselves. Not like just some type of cat that decided to make some shit like this. And I'm not saying that like there's a lot of guys doing that I listen to, but I'm sure there are quite a few that are kind of like on that. But this, all right, and this blaxploitation type of joint right here with Argov, right? Backbone. It's like some fucking funk vibe. It's so fucking hard though.
Damn, son,
Where'd you find this?
My new shorty see me cooking and do splits. What? Yeah, the singing is so hard on this, and the fucking the horn stabs on this, bro. I fuck with it. I really do.
Crack jokes, all up in the wave, doing backstrokes. This ain't minute made, we don't relax, yo. Me and the other shit ain't congruent. The shoes was too big until my feet grew in. Nigga Mosey.
Me and the other shit ain't congruent. The shoes was too big till my feet grew in.
The new shit, the main reason ship shank is loose lips. My girl shorty blink. Sweet. No nigga, don't sleep. I got what you gon' need. My homies gon' fuck with phony the bonies. Kneel down on both knees. She playing, baby, don't leave. Don't leave, baby, don't leave. You seem so lonely. It is what it is. Yo.
Not fucking with that, Des?
No, I'm listening to it. I'm taking it in.
Yeah.
Kind of sounds, for lack of a better comparison, kind of singing a little bit like Mos Def almost.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a bit of that like soulful, like just like almost beat poetry type, Soulquarian. Like, oh, I'm gonna just let it. This shit is incredible.
Yo, every
just-
time we took a break for like 2 months, Jet would start singing this shit.
Yes, we're doing that remix as well, man.
Yeah. Oh, our remix is hard. Our remix is more for like the Come Town, like a Chapo Trap House audience. Yeah. We will keep that one off the books.
So
Yeah, keep it on the good book. Koi Fish and like Road Dogg, like yo, like peep this last joint by August Fanon, who is one of the fucking best, one of the most amazing.
An insane run over the last few
like,
years. Like
we all know this like bass line, right? And the way he's reworked it with like these amazing horns gives it a whole new different type of light. We all know it, but and it's got that kind of like, you know what I mean?
I pray it ain't true. No, I remember first meeting, baby, you. We gon' get the cake and eat it too. You know who bring home the turkey bacon food? We only doing things we were made to do. We gon' take care of this major goof. We both getting money, staying aloof. If it was on
only someone like Obijuan
We want to take care of this major goof,
or a phony jabroni, and just make it sound hard.
Yeah, we're gonna take care of this major goof, and we're gonna do it while we aloof, bro. Like he's so fucking ill, man. I fuck with Obijuan. I appreciate. Another thing I appreciate about him is that like, you know, we're talking about like Ka, who recently passed away, the amazing, and what he's been doing with his art, the way he sells it, the way that he doesn't have a label, the way he puts it all on his back and just has his fan base coming through, running it up and helping him out. Like, that's what Obijuan is doing. Like, it don't bother me that a new album comes out from Obijuan and it's not available on streaming. That's a conscious choice that he's making in order to get his art out. And I believe in it. In the same way that I believe when Cavalier's like, yeah, the vinyl's $100. If you don't want to spend $100 on it, then you know what I mean? Eat a dick cookie. Like, what do you want me to devalue what I think about my art in order for you to feel some, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
feel like it should be the same as other art?
He sent it to us as well. It's like, you know, this is someone who puts a genuine, like, monetary value on his art, and he obviously appreciates what we do.
Right.
Because he appreciated enough to give us copies of the albums. And that's something that, you know, I think means a lot to the both of us for sure.
Yeah. I don't think that I bought it. You know, I still like to buy the albums. You know what I mean? And this one is not, you know, $700 or something like that, so I can still put down, you know, all the money we get for a Patreon, we put that right back into the community. I just sent Caltrops Press, I just sent them, you know, like 4,000 yen, which is like $25 American. But you know, not for Joe to send us anything from Caltrops Press, but I want him to continue doing that. I want him to continue making that art and reducing reducing the pressures of trying to fucking survive in this world. So, yeah, man, Secret House Against. Like, I don't even have to say my favorite tracks on this. Like, there's so many. Just pick it up and listen to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a good book though. It's a good book.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna start singing that as soon as we start.
Yeah,
recording.
for sure. Indeed, man. Secret House Against. Shout out to everybody that rocks with us. Tokyo-based hip hop art and culture conversations. You know the vibes. Obijuan, link in the bio. All the homies, link in the bio. Shout out to y'all.
Patrons, yo.
Oh yeah, get the Discord. We
Get on Discord.
it's
yeah.
getting real freaky in there.
You're talking about Minecraft and shit, man. It's getting freaky in there.
Yeah, bro. We reading the People's Republic of Walmart.
Time when it's so hard, trying to find light when it's so dark. I can see you in my skull blood. My blood brother is my road dog. Fuck a pig, we eat no hog. Need a hold of more coleslaw. Don't get stomped like a roach.